Welcome to level one. We're going to talk about mistrust today. And not in the way you would think. We're not talking about mistrust with our relationship with God. We're talking about mistrust with our relationship with others. So if you're ready to get started, come flat on your back. If flat on your back is not a comfortable position for you, feel free, please, to sit, take a child's pose, which is on your knees face down. But if you have knee issues, that might not work for you. Feel free to just find a position that helps you to really let the message in, right? So if sitting up because you have a low back issue or knee issues, or your hips, don't soften down, or your knees don't soften down like this, that can be distracting. What position is best for you to get started today? And then once you get there, just take a few long, deep breaths as just a default, just an opportunity to start focusing on your body, really going internal. You might just innately want to start deepening your breath. Do that. You might want to take your mind's energy and focus on your breath. Do that. It will help you to release your focus on what happened before you came here, or maybe what's going on after you leave here. What do you need to focus on to be fully present here today? Our scripture today, as you find your beginning posture and as you begin to really work your breath, is Psalm 93. I'm going to read from the Message paraphrase, and I want to emphasize God's bigness, God's lordship, God's sovereignty, because who he is and his protection and love and goodness towards us helps us to be comfortable with who we are. When we're comfortable with who we are, we present ourselves authentically to the world. And that takes a lot of courage and vulnerability. I was talking to my niece about this last night. It takes so much courage to show up in any space, especially where there are a lot of expectations, such the Christian culture, there are a lot of expectations. It takes immense courage to show up as yourself. And I'd like to say a reason we can have that courage is because God is God and we are not expected to be. We are not God to anyone, and no one is God to us. But because God is so big, so sovereign, so ever-present, so loving, so patient, so tolerant, we can show up in the struggle and be ourselves because of who he is. Just continue to cultivate that long, deep breath. Maybe it would help you to close your eyes. Don't worry too much about what I'm saying or feel pressure to think about it or pray about it. Just sit with how big God is. God is king, robed and ruling. God is robed and surging with strength. And yes, the world is firm, immovable. Your throne, ever firm, you're eternal. Sea storms are up, God. Sea storms wild and roaring. Sea storms with thunderous breakers. Stronger than wild sea storms, mightier than sea storm breakers. Mighty God rules from high heaven. What you say goes. It always has. Beauty and holiness mark your palace rule, God, to the very end of time. Love for you to call to mind as we just kind of move slowly in this next 60 seconds and kind of wrap up this beginning portion. What is something about God that leaves you in awe? Call that to mind. sure, because I can't read your mind, but I would guess whatever you thought of didn't really have a lot to do with you. And therein lies the power of getting our eyes on Jesus. Because, see, our default is to think a lot about ourselves. As you're ready, start to just add some movement. I know that in a yoga class, we want the teacher to tell us exactly what to do, but would love for you to take ownership of your practice today and just start moving. If you started on your back, draw your knees into your chest and start to massage your back, moving them side to side. If you sit seated like I am, maybe you put your hands on your knees, and as you inhale, you look up, arch your back, move your chest forward, pull your shoulder blades back, and then chin to chest as you exhale, round everything down. Let your shoulder blades wrap forward and put your chin all the way to your chest, and then just start to move that way with the rhythm of your breath. If you're in child's pose with your knees down and your face down, maybe you move everything off to the left and take a few deep breaths, getting a right side body stretch, and then just be sure to do that to the other side. See, it's hard even when you're talking to another person, because I don't know about you, but when I can sense someone is being inauthentic with me, if I can sense that they are putting a persona forward that's not genuine or who they are, I'm not sure that I trust them. And we all do that initially, right? I mean, isn't that why warm-up conversation when we don't know people, or going to parties where we don't know very many people, isn't that why it's exhausting? Because you have to put a persona forward. Well, we don't have to do that with God. And He is the highest, most important person you could ever seek the approval of, and He already approves of you. So if you have His approval, why wouldn't you have your own approval of who you are? And then why would we care so much what others think? I don't know about you, but I am becoming more and more free as I get older and as I press into the Lord, and certainly the hard times that I've been in, I can wallow and grovel in them, or I can dig for the gold and see them as opportunities to become more and more like Christ. And in that process, just really starting to like me. And in really starting to like me, knowing I have God's approval completely, and I'm starting to approve of me, I'm just organically not really caring as much what other people think of me. And it's incredibly liberating. If you are lying on your back or you're in child's pose, just slowly take your time and make your way to a seated position at the top of your mat. We're going to learn a sun salutation today that has nothing to do with our wrists, because oftentimes we have wrist issues if you sit at a desk, or if you have carpal tunnel issues or things like that. Sometimes you can do sun salutations, but it's your hands and your wrists that hurt you. And so I'm going to show you some alternatives today. So bring the soles of your feet to the mat. You've done a little bit of movement. Bring your fingertips behind you and just get a little bit more in. Let's stretch those hip flexors, and then we'll work toward this movement. With level 1, it's very intentional that we move slower, that we don't do a big flowing movement. We do that in yoga fusion. So if you like that and you're new to this practice, then you're welcome to pull up a yoga fusion. But this one is very beneficial for a beginner, but even more beneficial for an advanced yogi who now knows the shapes and can really get into all the nuances of them. Pull your soles of your feet close to your bottom. Stamp your feet, all four corners, into the ground. Pull your hands behind you just a little bit more. Bring them together and your elbows together. So watch my heart as I pull my elbows together. So if I'm here, just kind of leaning on my joints, I'm not really leading with my heart. So watch as I squeeze my shoulder blades together and push my arms into the ground in 3, 2, 1. So now I'm kind of pushing the ground away from me, pulling my elbows together, pulling my shoulder blades together, and then I'll lift my hips high. Get a little bit of a front chest stretch, a little bit of front hip flexor stretch, and then set those hips down. Soles of the feet together, let the knees open wide. Grab your inner thighs, the outside edges of your feet, and then get an inner thigh stretch by pushing your knees away. Pull your shoulder blades behind you and look up. Let's do that again. Hands come behind you, soles of the feet to the ground, lift the hips high. You can arch your neck back for a neck stretch, but if it bothers you, you can keep your neck even with your shoulders, and then lower those hips. One more inner thigh stretch. This time look up, get a heart opener, and then walk your hands forward. Fold it out, chin to chest. Go ahead and let your head drop. Go ahead and let your back arch. That's just fine. And then take a nice long deep breath. Part of this message that I have for you today is also being comfortable like that in your body. Just letting your body be enough. Whatever shape you take today, it's enough. If you're like me, and as I was first healing from body dysmorphic issues, the thought of moving this slow and not working really hard, it made my skin crawl. And as I healed, I realized that I was hurting my body, the impact. I was in pain often. I wasn't listening to my body and the gentility that it needed to heal. Maybe today you just need more gentle movement. And I'm just here to tell you, it's enough. You're enough. God approves of you. Maybe it's not so much that you need to work on understanding God's approval. Maybe you need to approve of you. As you're ready, just move your feet behind you. We're going to come to just a momentary downward facing dog. So you can pedal out your legs. This is really the only wrist movement we'll do. So press the base of your first finger and thumb where they meet. Press that into the ground and then push the ground away. Chin to chest. And then just hold an isometric down dog. In other words, no moving anymore. Pull your shoulder blades away from your ears and let them round forward as you pull your heart backwards towards the ceiling and then push down into the floor. And then when you're ready, bend your knees, walk your hands to the back of your mat and give me a forward fold. We'll go ahead and start working through this flow. So in this forward fold, bend your knees nice and deep. The more you bend your knees, the more you'll be able to start to just fold and let everything hang. Your chin coming to your chest is last, and that just allows your neck to just really release. We definitely have a tendency to look up in our daily life. And as you're ready, push your feet into the ground, roll up one vertebrae at a time, nice and slow. I'm going to teach you a super slow, wrist-free sun salutation. Inhale, bring your arms up overhead. And then let's do a little bit of twisting because we're doing a lot of back and forth today. So let your left hand come down and around and take a standing twist. So as you're twisting to the left and looking behind you, try not to let your right hip follow. See, I'm not really twisting anymore. I'm turning around behind me. I'm going to keep my hips pointing forward, and I'm going to pull this hip back and not let it move. I'm really not pulling it back. I'm just not letting it move. And then inhale, bring your arm up and take a twist to the other side. We generally want to move in all planes of motion whenever possible. Not always possible, so that's okay. Come back. Give me a little heart opener. And then fold it out. You know me, I'm a big fan of pulling my elbows all the way down and around, getting a good chest stretch, and then folding it out. Halfway lift. Bend your knees deeply. Give me a chair pose. Bring your hands to heart center. If you really want to, you can bring your arms up overhead. Sometimes, though, if you have neck and shoulder issues, that crunches you up. What's really important is that you use these muscles right here to pull your shoulders down away from your ears. And if doing that, let me help you see this. If doing that makes you go like this, this has nothing to do with your shoulders. Do you see how they're two different joints? So knit that back in, lower down, and then pull this down away from the ear, keeping this knit together. For 3, 2, 1. Now I want you to lower down all the way, come to a squat. Now you can use your arms or not. Using your arms will look like this. You'll grab the floor once you get low enough. Let me show you what not using your arms will look like, because I just want to let you know we're going to do this a few times, and not using your arms takes more work. If that is what you're looking for today, or you want to push yourself, try not to use your hands as you lower down. So everybody come to chair, and then work through a squat using your hands or not using your hands. I'm going to show you not using your hands at first, and then we'll go from there. What you're going to do is you're going to sit up nice and tall. You're going to lean back, and as you start leaning back, your knees are going to start to go down because they don't want to let you fall. And here we are. Now walk your hands out. Find a forearm plank. So to modify this, you're just going to stay down on your knees, tops of your feet on the ground. This is a modified plank. You're welcome to come to full forearm plank if you would like. I'm going to teach a modified version because this is level 1 is my version of a beginner class. So push the ground away from you, lift your hips up high, and then as you're ready, set your hips down. Give me a Sphinx pose. You're welcome to take Cobra if you want. Cobra and Sphinx, neither one of them is necessarily harder than the other. Cobra just gives you less of a slope in your low back. So wherever you are, push your pubic bone into the ground. And as you're ready, you're going to tuck your toes. I would love for you to try to do this without looking at me. Once you look at your yoga teacher and you go, oh, that's the shape, you don't listen to their words. And in their words, there's a lot of subtle directives that will help you realign your core and spine and help you in your activities of daily living. So close your eyes if you would with me, tuck your toes under, and lift your kneecaps off the ground. Push your pubic bone into the ground, deep, deep, deep. And then in one long line, lift your chest and your hips, come into what's called dolphin. So start to walk your feet in towards your face and hold dolphin pose. Dolphin pose is essentially downward facing dog with no wrist use. You're pressing into your elbows. And then push your elbows against the ground and your shoulder blades will round forward. That's just fine. Chin to chest so that your neck is nice and released for 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and lower down to your knees. And then using your hands or not using your hands, so I'm only halfway, you can either walk your hands back or you can lift your hands, pull them next to your side, and come to a kneeling position. Stretch your feet just a little bit. I exchanged my massage job for a bit of a desk job at the college I work for, and I'm loving it, but my feet, wearing these different shoes, you guys know how I feel about feet, wearing cutesy shoes, ooh, it's having an effect on my feet. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go back to where we were, mountain pose. Here's what that looks like. Use your hands and gently press against the ground, come back to your squat, or no hands, and you'll have to kind of push yourself back and catch yourself, or push yourself back and catch yourself with your core. And then we have 2 options. You can go from a forward fold to mountain or full mountain. I'll show you the difference. Forward fold to mountain using your hands will come down, heels down, straighten your legs. Or all the way to mountain in one foul swoop. Here's what that looks like. Arms up, push your heels into the ground, lift all the way up, come to mountain. Get there however you want, hands at heart center, and we'll do that again. Give me some breath. Wiggle out your toes, kind of move just a little bit in your mountain pose. Maybe I'm a big fan lately in my practice of just kind of shaking it off, right? You've heard me say in classes before, animals in captivity and us, we are the only people that don't shake it off. And then what we start to see, because we don't want to look weird, right? We don't want to do that. What we start to see is nervous tics, reaching for our fingernails, cutting our fingernails, writhing your hands. I have a friend who goes like this, right? It's the same thing. We're not shaking off stressful things, or we're not shaking off. And so we find these little physical nervous tics. I twist my hair, right? I've noticed I twist it a lot less as I press into that shaking. And then come to a mountain pose, close your eyes. I'm going to read you the same psalm out of the NASB. It says, the Lord reigns. He is clothed with majesty. The Lord has clothed and girded himself with strength. Indeed, the world is firmly established. It will not be moved. Your throne is established from of old. You are from everlasting. The floods have lifted up, O Lord. The floods have lifted up their voice. The floods lift up their pounding waves. More than the sound of many waters, the mighty breakers of the sea, the Lord on high is mighty. Your testimonies are fully confirmed. Holiness befits your house, O Lord, forevermore. Here we go. Time to flow that. Back of your mat. Inhale, mountain pose. Lift your arms up all the way. Let's take those twists. Left side first. Exhale. Pull your right hip back. You're not really pulling it back. You're just not letting it move. Inhale, center. And then turn. Inhale, open your heart. Give me a little bit of a back bend. And then bend your knees softly as you fold it out, chin to chest. Get a good fold in there. And then chair pose. Hands or no hands, keep those legs nice and strong, all four corners of your feet as you come to a squat first. And then very slowly press the base of your big toe into the ground, lift in through your core, set your knees down, use your hands or don't use your hands, walk out to that forearm plank, knees down or knees up, your choice, tops of your feet down for 3, 2, 1, hips down, give me a cobra or a sphinx. Press the pubic bone into the mat, pull the shoulders back and down, and push the ground away with your elbows. Try to lift as tall as you can. When you're ready, the tops of your toes will turn over. Get rid of all your breath first, and then lift up through that spine. Walk the feet towards the face. Give me dolphin pose for 3 long breaths. One more, make it indulgent and deep while you try to hold that tractioning of your spine. And then as you're ready, your knees will come down. Hips come back so that weight is out of your elbows. And then don't use your hands, come up. And then don't use your hands if you want it more difficult, or use your hands if you don't, and maybe lift one at a time, come to that squat, and then either go to a forward fold and then mountain, or simply stand up, mountain pose. Let's repeat that. Do it again. This time twist to the right. Exhale. Let's flow. Inhale. Exhale, full, long, slow flowing. We don't want to flow so much that we lose our breath. Level 1 is all about syncing up with our body. Hold it out. Chair pose. Arms down or up. Lower down to your squat. Come into a ball. Exhale all the air. And then your inhale sets your knees down. Your exhale crawls you out to the plank. Modified or full, your inhale holds you there. Exhale. Inhale, hips down, back bend. Exhale, tuck the toes under, lift the hips. Walk the feet towards the face to dolphin. Full exhale. And then inhale, knees down, sit up. Inhale. Exhale, one knee at a time. Pull back, find your squat. Get rid of all the air. And then either forward fold to mountain or simply stand up, mountain pose. And now it's your turn. Inhale, arms overhead. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. And if you don't remember, or if something I say doesn't make sense, take a twist one direction, then make something up. Doesn't have to be perfect. Your inhale brings you to center, and then you twist the other direction. And then your inhale brings you to center all the way, and then your exhale opens your heart. Elbows come down towards your hips. Exhale, fold it all the way out. Get rid of all the air and squeeze yourself in half. And then lift up into chair pose. Hands or no hands. Lower down, find your squat. Hands or no hands, set your knees down. Walk your hands out, find forearm plank. Hold it for one breath, one beat. And then set your hips down, take your back bend. I'm not moving because I want you to trust your own self-leadership. When you're done with the back bend, tuck your toes under. Lift your hips up through forearm plank as you come to dolphin with your hips high, and walk your feet up towards your face. Knees come down in dolphin. Use your hands or don't. Come to a kneeling position. When you're ready, going through a forward fold or simply standing up, come to mountain pose. And now, with no leadership of mine, do it 1 to 2 more times. while I read this over you. Take your time. No rush. The Lord reigns, and he is clothed with majesty. The Lord has clothed and girded himself with strength. Indeed, the world is firmly established. It will not be moved. Your throne is established from old. You are from everlasting. The floods have lifted up, O Lord. The floods have lifted up their voice. The floods lift up their pounding waves. More than sounds of many waters, than the mighty breakers of the sea. The Lord on high is mighty. Your testimonies are fully confirmed. Holiness befits your house, O Lord, forevermore. Whenever you're ready, we're going to meet at mountain pose at the back of your mat. Take your time getting there. No rush. We're going to do tree pose. I'm going to stand facing you, but you can continue to face the back of your mat. I'm going to have you lift up your right foot first and bring it either to the instep so that your toe is touching the ground, your calf, or actually, a lot of people think this is the hardest variation, but it actually makes it so that you can stick the balance better because you can push your foot against your thigh and your thigh back against your foot. And then pull the bent knee back towards the wall behind you. You cannot use your arms for this one. Again, I have neck issues, so I'm a big fan of not really using my arms. But if you want to use your arms, you can always bring them up. Maybe biceps by the ears, maybe cactus arms. And I want you to find in your mind's eye where your big toe and the base of it press into the ground and the base of your pinky toe press into the ground. Feel all the muscles of your feet fire up for 3, 2, 1. And now don't slingshot your leg off. Pull your knee forward and set your foot down. And then now give me a shake. Shake. I want you to look at my legs. I'm shaking my legs. I'm shaking my arms. I'm shaking my chest. I'm shaking my hips. Shake it off. And then give me a deep breath. And let's do the left side. So press in with your right foot. Place your foot where you found it to fit best, where you could feel confident and nail this balance. Finding the arm variation you found on the other side. This ability to have the courage to be vulnerable enough to be yourself around others, it takes balance. It's hard. You fall, you waver, you shake. If you're waiting to be yourself to have confidence, you have to be yourself first, and then the confidence comes. You've got 2 more breaths. 1 more. And then knee comes through center, set that foot down, and then shake it. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your booty, shake your chest, shake your arms, shake your head. Shake it off. 1 last squat. Walk up to the top of your mat and lower down with or without your hands. Set your bottom down and then come flat on your back again. Bring your right knee into your chest. You can stay right there, or we're going to do what's called half happy baby. So in happy baby, with your right leg pulled in, you're going to grab that side of your foot, and then you're going to pull that back down towards your armpit. Your left leg is going to kind of be tempted to pop up off the mat. Try to push that back down, and you'll feel that pull from your left hip that's anchored to the other hip, inner groin, backside of the hip area that's being stretched. We are assaulted all day long with messages that who we are is not enough. Look at any marketing campaign for any product that's trying to convince you you need it. You're not thin enough, you're not big enough, you're not strong enough, you're not healthy enough, you're not eating the right foods, you're not going to the right places. When we were little, if we didn't fit in, if we were on the fringes in any way, we took that to heart. We could feel it, we knew it, and that's why it takes such immense courage to do it as an adult. Take that right leg and take a twist over to the left side of your body. You can grab the knee or the foot with the left hand. And then just like a piece of taffy kind of unfurling, just let your breath and gravity pull you down towards the mat. So as we lay here and we contemplate this idea, is there something that keeps you from being yourself that you know holds you back? What if you started talking to God about it right now and just confessing? Because you are fully approved of right this moment. If you never accomplish anything else, if you never make any more money, if you never get a house, if you never have children, if you never get married, if you never even go to church, like, you're approved of by God. Going to church is a good thing. I love being married. I love being a parent. I'm not saying any of those things aren't good things, but they can't be God things. As you're ready, you can unfurl from this twist and bring your left leg in now. Take that half happy baby on your left side. Again, that right hip will probably pop up off the mat just a little bit and want to kind of come up as you pull that left foot down towards your left underarm. Sort of root that right hip down, pull in opposition from one side to the other. And if there is a specific story as you take that leg off to the right for a twist, that you just remember, like this, just a cruel child in your past or something that happened, our final meditation today is going to be to rewrite that little specific story, not the whole story of your life. Don't have time for that today, but there was a specific story where you thought, well, I don't think I'm enough because this happened that one time. My daughter has a specific memory. She does not like to be yelled at. It's kind of crippling for her, and she dropped a bowl and her grandma yelled at her. It's just imprinted on her. So maybe her meditation could be to visualize herself at that age, visualize herself in grandma's condo, dropping that bowl and having grandma respond with grace and calm. And looking at her and going, oh, are you okay? It's okay, we can clean it up, right? That's the response that she should have gotten, right? If you have a story like that, let's rewrite it when I'm quiet in your meditation. You just rewrite it with the Lord. You just imagine the different scenario, because it's what you would have deserved, either acceptance or love or grace or mercy or forgiveness. And we get to rewrite these stories. When you're ready, come flat on your back. Any last movement that you need, just kind of get it out, wiggle it out. Let your legs go out long, let them soften open. Let your hands be by your side, palm up. Roll your eyes back in your head, soften your jaw. Just take about the next 3 minutes and just rewrite that story in your mind as we do our final meditation. ready to start moving, just take a big, long, deep couple of breaths. And that movement, though it's primarily internal, still movement, it's still enough to awaken you. And then maybe you move a little bit more, your hands, your ankles, your toes, your fingers, just move and just slowly start to make yourself to a seated position. Hands at heart center, Lord. You are who gives us courage to be authentically, transparently ourselves. And though it's scary at first, God, it's the most freeing thing because who you made us to be was intentional. And so we press into that intention, knowing that it's divine, and that with your Holy Spirit in us, we can be courageous enough to truly be ourselves. In Jesus' name, we love you. Amen. Have a good one, my friends. I love being here with you. See you next time.